Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Janelle from Infinite Potential Healing, and I'm coming to you today with the astrology, the overview, the outlook for the month of April 2026. So, April is coming in fast and furious, hot and heavy. This is a high energy, transformational month. It is dominated by a rare and very intense Aries stellium, where we will have the Sun, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron all in Aries. So we call it a stellium anytime we have 3 or more planets in one specific sign, and we've got a whole lot more than 3 hanging out in Aries for the majority of the month, because this energy is from April 1st through April 20th. So this energy favors bold action. It favors personal transformation and major life shifts. So all of those things that you reviewed and all of those plans that you have wanted to make and that you've been making, all of the review from the Mercury retrograde that we had in March, and all of those things that you've really wanted to move forward on probably through the whole year of the wood snake, but you didn't have an opportunity to do so, we are going to have that opportunity in spades from April 1st to the 20th, while we have this super duper supercharged, really loaded Aries stellium. Some of this energy, because it's so much fire, so much movement, it could feel even a little bit spazzy or a little bit intense. It's going to maybe distract our focus a little bit, because we're going to be so driven to move to act that we might compartmentalize our thinking. So there's definitely the potential for some impulsive energy with this. And again, it's going to be pulling us away from or distracting the need to rest that we still very much have. So definitely something that you're going to want to prioritize and even schedule in that rest in the month of April. So this particular Aries stellium is a cosmic wildfire. It's going to burn away apathy. So if you haven't been feeling it, whatever it is, that whole meh vibe that's been going on for a long time for a lot of people, yep, that's coming to a close April 1st to the 20th. It's going to really ask you to, embrace courage, to really, celebrate and stand in, really hone in your own individuality. This is going to be a great month to get some shit done. I'm talking crossing stuff off your list that's been on that list for longer than you can remember. April 1st through the 20th is the time to knock that stuff out. The idea here is to really embrace the archetype of the Aries warrior, that kind of, or the warrior goddess, however you choose to look at Aries, from the 1st through the 20th. And that is, quite a tall assignment after we've come off of this time of really not feeling the fire. Well, right now, just like Jim Morrison said, April 1st to the 20th, this is the season of come on baby, light my fire, and Aries is going to light all of us up in some way, shape, or form. So the month of April starts off with a full moon off the jump on April 1st at 10:12 p.m. Eastern Date Time. And that full moon is going to be illuminating, balancing our thoughts and our actions. It's going to be bringing clarity to our partnerships. We'll talk more about that specific full moon in another video, but be aware that, this is literally how we're starting with this huge illumination. And then we move into April 9th, and we kind of have this period where, other than that massive stellium that we have going on, things are a little quiet. But on April 9th, Mercury is finally out of the Mercury retrograde shadow. It's going to be very, very exciting. It's going to feel so much better, so much clarity. And we're going to kind of feel like, even though Mercury isn't in Aries just yet, he's joining that clarity Aries party, which will help us move forward. The other thing that happens on April 9th is that we have Mars moving into Aries, joining that stellium that we already had. So if you were not already feeling supercharged, fired up, like you were ready to take on the fucking world and in the best, most badass version of yourself, you're surely gonna feel it on the 9th, because Mars rules Aries, so we are just really adding fuel to this proverbial Aries fire that we have going on. On the 12th of April, we have Mars conjunct Neptune, which is really going to bring in, when we conjunct means they're basically hanging out right next to each other, sometimes even right on top of each other. So this is going to be really highly charged emotional energy. It's going to give us the potential for impulsive energy. It's going to give us the potential for misguided energy, or even kind of creative action that might not have made a whole lot of sense to us prior to this particular astrological transit. It's kind of the vibe is the potential to create chaos is exceptionally high on April 12th with Mars conjunct Neptune. On April 14th, we have Mercury moving into Aries. So now he's not only forward, he's not only out of the shadow, but he is joining the Aries party. That is a lot of Aries, because we already had the Sun, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and Mars in Aries, and now we're adding Mercury to fuel that fire further. So that's going to give those last 6 days of having all of those planets hanging out in the stellium, it's going to pack an even greater punch at that point. But with Mercury moving into Aries, Aries is the cardinal sign of the zodiac, the first sign of the zodiac. It is clear, it is decisive energy, it's strategic energy. That's going to be what's ruling our intellect, because that's what Mercury rules. So we might feel like, we can grab and hold our thoughts a lot better, a lot more powerfully, and for a lot longer of a period of time. So if you've been feeling scattered or unmotivated or anything like that, that's probably going to come, that energy is going to pass, and you're going to move into a much clearer energy on the 14th. On the 16th, we have a Chiron Cazimi, which means Chiron is conjunct the sun, again, hanging out right with that sun. So this is a really deep, transformative moment for healing deep personal wounds, because Chiron is our wounded healer. So if there is anything, whether it is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, something that you feel like you just cannot wrap your head around, you can't obtain healing in, you can't get over, you can't move past, shed some light on it and sit with it for a little while on the 16th, because the energy is absolutely there for that transformation to take place, for that healing to just kind of lock and load so that you can move forward. We also have Mercury conjunct, meaning hanging out with Neptune. So our thoughts and our creativity are going to work very well together that day, and we might find ourselves, in a deeply creative space, a deeply philosophical place, really kind of up in that psychology, that spirituality, and it's going to feel, really lovely to us at that time. So it's a cool vibe to come to this deep transformational healing to and with. On the 17th, we have a new moon in Aries. So now we've got the moon joining this Aries stellium party. Again, we'll talk about that in another video. The moon doesn't super love to be in Aries, if we're being really honest, because the moon is ruled by Cancer, which is a water sign. Aries is ruled by Mars, it's a fire sign. So sometimes the moon in a fire sign can feel a little bit like, it can feel explosive with our emotions. We can feel more passionate than we normally would, but that moon energy too can kind of rain on the parade of that Aries fire a little bit. It can definitely go both ways. But it also gives us an opportunity to gain clarity, that wonderful Aries clarity over our emotions and our emotional needs. So it's a lovely opportunity there. On the 19th, we have the sun moving into Taurus. And that's going to usher in a lot of grounding, a lot of stability that has been so lacking in our astrology for a while. So that's going to feel really, really nice. It could feel a little bit like the sun moving into Taurus is pumping the brakes or trying to dampen our enthusiasm, because Taurus is a fixed earth sign. And that's not what the sun into Taurus is trying to do at all. It's trying to give us a grounded, stable foundation to allow us to utilize all of that fire energy so that we don't just flame out or, kind of burn ourselves to the ground in the chaos that we're creating. It's going to really help to focus all of that fire energy. On the 20th, we have Mars, Saturn, and Mercury all conjunct, hanging out together in Aries. So this is an intense energy. It's a rigid energy. It is a very decisive energy. You should be very mindful that decisions that you make now with Mars, Saturn, there's that karmic heavy hitter, Mercury, how we're thinking, all in Aries, the decisions that we make on the 20th are going to have long-lasting consequences. And when we use the word consequences, those could be positive or negative consequences, or they could be neutral in, as other people are outside looking in. So don't necessarily think that that was, some sort of doomsday preparation statement, because that's not the vibe at all. It's just that the decisions that we make on the 20th, especially with Saturn and that conjunction, are not going to be decisions to be taken lightly or made lightly. And because they're not, that's going to have lasting consequences. On April 24th, we have Venus moving into the dual sign of Gemini. So there might be a little bit of a duality that comes into the mix about what we love and what we value. So there could be a little bit of this and a little bit of that in what we love and what we value. And as we move into Gemini season, after we get through Taurus season, there's going to be a lot of this and that energy, because Gemini is a dual sign. Then on the 25th or the 26th, depending on your time zone, we have Uranus moving into Gemini. This is a really big deal. This is a pretty major shift in collective consciousness. Thank fucking God. This is a new era of innovation. It's a new era of flexibility, and it's a whole new era of intellectual development, and really how our intellectual identity and how we're thinking about things. So with Uranus moving into Gemini, we've noticed, not just over the past few years, but really over the past decade plus, we have seen society as a whole, the collective, get more and more rigid in their thinking and in their positions. They have just been, with Uranus and Taurus, the collective has been rooted into that fixed Taurus energy, that stubborn, you can't move a bull type of energy. Now moving into Gemini, there's some duality at play, which is going to be celebrated, and it's going to feel like a breath of fresh fucking air. Because with this duality, we're going to realize it doesn't have to be so black and white. It doesn't have to be so all or nothing. It can be, oh, I can see and appreciate your point of view and also still hold my point of view. So it kind of primes the pump for there to be a lot more cooperation, a lot more, energy of the collective coming together, working together, seeing that we are fundamentally more the same than we are different at the end of the day. And there will be a lovely shedding of a lot of the divisiveness that has gone on in the past. So it's a big month. It's a really cool month, a lot of really cool energies. So what crystals can we use and can we work with that are going to best support us? The two that came up for me are clear quartz, because we really want to make sure that we are really fucking clear with all of this fire going on and just all of the energy. Again, it's going to be frenetic. It's going to be chaotic. There's going to be a lot of movement. So clear quartz is going to help to bring balance there, and is going to help us to, keep our own energy clear. And we want to be clear as we move forward and take advantage of all of this wonderful Aries energy. The other crystal that came through is blue lace agate. This is a stone that for myself I associate with the throat chakra, with communication, very mercurial, meaning it ties into Mercury themes and how we think. Utilizing and working with blue lace agate this month is going to help us to turn down our minds a little bit. It's going to help us to take some rest. It's going to help to bring balance and softness and kind of that divine feminine energy to an otherwise very divine masculine themed month with all of that areas at play. A great way that you can work with blue lace agate this month is to simply take the stone, place it directly on your third eye, and just lie there and breathe and tune into yourself. Maybe even do a little bit of a meditation with the blue lace agate on your third eye this month. Always a great stone to place on your throat chakra, especially if you're in a reclining position and it'll stay there. If you feel like your heart is too heavy or you are feeling consumed by all of the Aries fire, you can definitely place a blue lace agate on your heart chakra area as well. And with clear quartz, just have one on you. Hang out with one. Keep one in your pocket. Stuff one in your bra. If you've never heard about putting crystals in your bra before, let me tell you, if you gotta wear it, you might as well use it as a crystal holder. That's all I'm gonna say about that for now. Little tip and trick for you. But keep a clear quartz with you. Wear it in jewelry. Take it and wave it through your aura to help balance out those crazy chaotic energies that are going to come up this month. And that's going to help really keep you energetically balanced. So the cards that came up for us for the month of April actually track with a lot of what I just said. So the first card that came up for us is the Ace of Air. Makes a lot of sense. This is a moment of new beginning, right? So much of this fire energy, the entire first 20 days of April, new beginnings, just a plethora of new beginnings. With the Ace of Air, it's the this is the energy of a brilliant new beginning, a clear idea, but maybe one that you have a little bit of a challenge implementing or moving forward with just yet. The way that I am interpreting this card for this specific month is we have these new beginnings and these new opportunities to move forward on some of these projects that, might have gotten shelved or have felt, perpetually delayed for a long time. That is where the challenge comes in. The challenge is in the past energy and integrating those past experiences into the present without allowing it to cloud our thoughts or to slow our cerebral process down. The second card that came up was another fucking air card. Now, if you've had a reading with me, I'll always say we don't always love air cards. There are certain air cards that we do love, but typically we don't love air cards because it's all about this cerebral energy, and we don't like to focus on our thinking, our overthinking, or our stinking thinking, and I know none of you ever do any of that. But we got the Nine of Air reversed. So typically when the Nine of Air is upright, it is talking about the need for rest, the need to, kind of seeing worst case scenarios, and that literally keeping us up at night. We're not going to be in that worst case scenario energy, but we're still going to have the need to rest, which is why the Nine of Air came up, because we're going to feel challenged taking the rest, which is why it came up in the reverse. So again, I can't stress it enough. Make time for rest, schedule it in if you have to, or you are going to burn out. With this one, do not say that I didn't warn you, because I have warned you repeatedly. All right, the last card that came up was actually two cards, so we kind of get a bonus card, and we have not one, but two major arcana cards. Now, when we see major arcana cards in a reading, we always pay them more heed because they are the equivalent of trump cards in traditional playing cards, and it signifies that we are going through a bigger change or transformation than the average person, than the average bear, which we absolutely are in the month of April, like it or not, and most of us are going to go through that change willingly. So we have the Star card upright, which is fucking fantastic because it's literally one of the best cards in the whole entire deck. The Star card is a card of being on the right path. It's happy times. It's a card of abundance. And all of this comes up in the month of April. Star card is also considered a wish fulfillment card. So if you are not making your wishes, start right fucking now and make them every single fucking day until what you are asking for comes to you. Make sure that you add a please and thank you in there. The universe appreciates it. It's nice to be polite. We also have the Justice card coming up in the reverse. This is not a surprise when we are starting the month off with a full moon that is all about balance with Libra, opposing this entire Aries stellium that we've been talking about. So that's why we're going to feel a little bit out of balance because of that push and pull that we're getting with the moon. So it's going to be kind of all systems go, but maybe we feel a certain kind of way about it. All systems go, but we might still have some emotional work to do. And there's a lot of us right now that feel like we have done the fucking emotional work. Well, spoiler alert, until and unless you're dead and you don't have emotions anymore, you're not done doing your emotional work. You're always going to feel a certain kind of way. And if you feel a certain kind of way, there's always going to be a need for you to do emotional work. So that balance might be a little bit hard to achieve and maintain, but at the end of the day, we're still going to feel predominantly positive in the month of April. So that is our astrological outlook, along with our crystals for the month of April and our cards for the month of April. It looks like it is going to be a great month. One thing to note about the month of April 2026, with this Aries stellium being so potent and so powerful for the first 20 days of the month of April is going to fucking fly by. It is going to feel that if you blinked, you have literally missed it. So just be prepared for that, like really fast and furious, movement in situations that haven't been moving for a long time. Build in that rest to support and sustain yourself. Work with the crystals and realize that you are literally living through what is going to be this magical turning point, this major transformative and transformational time, and enjoy the hell out of this fantastic month.